Next to the last week because we have to
Next
make
to
the
the last
payroll.
week. This is the last week 30 of our course, but we skipped a week. Week 23 is in here somewhere. I think it's yeah, we just gotta, I'm gonna put all the stuff in here so you all can work on that ahead of time if you'd like. We will meet for this on, oh, sorry, that's wrong too. We're gonna meet for that one next week. This week we're talking about timely grades and feedback. So here's our house that we've been building all quarter or all class, all during the course. Um, as you can see, it's still got some steps to do, but the framework of the house is there, and it's supposed to be a metaphor for the framework of this course. So hopefully, after all the work that you've been doing, you have a more sturdy foundation for your courses that include more of a sense of belonging for your students. Um, Hopefully the outcomes and assessments, maybe you have a better idea about how those will work. And yeah, all of that good stuff that we've been working on in this course. Inspect the house under construction, ensure everything is in place here. For week 30, our final step, inspecting the house. Having transparent grading structure and a clear plan for timely personalized feedback ensures that your course is fully prepared. So this is continuing with what we talked about last week. We introduced feedback, different kinds of feedback, and making sure that it is timely and personalized if you can. So this one here, by clarifying how grades are determined and when learners can expect feedback, you remove uncertainty, promote fairness, and help students feel confident in both their progress and course design. Our objective for the week here, articulate a clear grading structure and establish a timely feedback plan so students know exactly how their work will be evaluated and when they can expect personalized guidance. The alignment here, this is week 30. This is, again, I don't know why the images are coming in incorrectly, but the badge will actually say week 30 grades on it. And then later on, if you need to put in the code here. I've been doing codes differently. So for those people who are watching it and looking for the code, it will come in like this secret code instead of me stopping the share and stopping the momentum
I
of
almost I almost missed it last week. I was watching the
looking for a
video and
certain way.
waiting for
Yeah.
your hand to go up, and it never did.
Yeah. 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 So it's a little bit more stealthy this time. Paying attention. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and jump
I
right
don't mean to
into.
interrupt, but isn't that a barrier,
What do you mean?
making it more stealthy and sneaky? I'm
I
just
mean
messing with you, Ron.
it's the same, the idea of putting it on the screen so that people can see it. Um, as long as you're paying attention, then you should be able to see it.
Gotcha.
Um, 3.4.A indicator course includes a clear explanation describing a course grading structure. So um, y'all know how to do grades. You need grades in all of your programs to show how students are getting on with what they're learning. Students will appreciate the use of grading rubrics and other descriptive scoring criteria that clearly define the key elements of success and assessments in your course. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But the rubric scores can provide the students with the valuable post-assessment feedback they can use to improve their performance on subsequent submissions. So uh, rubric is nice. We've talked about it for the past couple of weeks, but it's easier for you all when you're giving your courses to quickly, okay, here, it looks like they've met the expectation. Here, they're still working on it. Here, they didn't include this part at all. As you create the rubrics and implement them into your assignments, that part takes a little bit of effort. Not a little bit, it takes a lot to make rubrics because there's getting the points right and putting everything into Canvas. Like if Canvas needs to be working on anything, it needs to be working on a rubric importer where you would just have like an Excel file or something, and then it can uh, import the rubric so you don't have to go and click every single one. Hopefully they'll get that going pretty soon. But in the meantime, there's basically the rubric creation where you are outside of Canvas, setting up your assignment, deciding first how many points you want it to be, how those points fit into the overall points of your course, and then what you're going to be giving the points for. So there needs to be well, in order to be more transparent, you would have a point for almost every level of what students are doing. And so the amount is debatable. Like you don't want to have too many points or little boxes for descriptions. But then also too little doesn't give enough information. So I'm curious if anybody, I know we looked at Tracy's rubrics last time, but does anybody have a rubric that you would be willing to share so that we can get some more examples of effective rubrics?
I have a rubric that I think I submitted for a previous assignment in this course. And it was surprising for me, I developed using AI because I'm not a big user of AI yet. Okay.
Do you know what assignment it is? Is it okay if we look at it?
Yeah, yeah. Let me go to my portfolio. Probably the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. And you can share or if you drop your e-portfolio in the chat, actually I think I have access to because you've put it on there.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I put it in. Yeah. I've got your e-portfolio right here. So who would you say it's in maybe the
think it's 3.2D.
yeah, that's what I was thinking it was too. Okay, so I wish I could expand this thing. I might have to just go in from the teacher view. So 3.2D. Learning rubrics. And hold on, let me just for security take that off. Okay. Dirk Faust. All right, this is a little bit bigger. This is just an image? Oh, this is just an image. So actually I can just go like this. Okay, walk us through this, Derek.
Um, just as an FYI, we're not seeing it on.
Oh, am I not? What am I?
Yeah.
Are you seeing pictures of my family?
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know why it chose that one to do.
There we go.
Image cap.
So for this rubric, this one is titled GIS tutorial rubric, but So I teach a geographic information systems class. Sort of, you can think of it sort of like as a map creation and map analysis type of software. Um, and in the textbook, there are tutorials that students work through to gain the skills. And as they work through the tutorials, they um, export maps and submit those for their assignments. And what I wanted was like a generalized rubric for the tutorials, like the different for each week, but only have one tutorial, right? I didn't want to have to create a separate rubric rather for each set of tutorials. It seemed unnecessary because what I'm really trying to evaluate in each tutorial is what's reflected here in the criteria. So their ability to complete the tasks and do so accurately and like with the correct results. Like in other words, like the map looks the way that it should in the end. So that's the first criteria. The second one is critical thinking and problem solving. So like when they run into a problem, do they come running to me right away or do they try to solve it independently?
Right.
ArcGIS knowledge, that's the software, ArcGIS. So their knowledge and independent work. There's a little bit of overlap with that one with the critical thinking and problem solving. But again, it's looking at independent work, self-learning, and taking initiative, and only seeking out help when they're like really, really stuck.
Mm.
It's not that I'm unwilling to help them or that they can't ask a fellow student for for help, but I do want them to use their resources to try to figure it out, whether that's using their textbook, or a lot of times with these tutorials, the directions like will, if they've already done something like change a symbol on the map, the book's not going to spell it out for them if they're asking them to do something that they've already done a couple times before.
Mm.
So in that case, they could go back, and if they need a refresher on how to do that, they can go back to a previous tutorial and pick that up. And then the mapping and visualization, again, like the visualizations and the maps that they create are clear, well designed, and communicate the message that it's intended to require. And some maps may require additional elements like legends, scale bars, and stuff like that. Um, so basically, again, or well, not again, but does the map look like the way that it should at the completion of the tutorial?
Mhm.
Uh, so I use the same rubric for all of the tutorial assignments. I think there's 8 of them throughout the course. But I adjusted the points, each of the set of tutorials, like some weeks tutorials, there's like 8 of them, and other weeks there's only 4.
Mm.
Uh, uh, so I sort of weighted the total point based on the total points. I then split the categories, the points for each of the categories on a percentage basis. And I don't have that, um, but that's how I did it. I kept the same rubric, but then uh, for each of the criteria, each criteria was worth a certain percentage of the total points for that assignment.
Mm.
So this is just an example one. There's 7 others that are identical other than the point values.
I'm curious how you arrived at the point values.
Yeah, so it was, I mean, that's sort of based on like I actually have completed all these tutorials myself, so I
Mm.
know how long it takes and how much effort. So it was based on that and yeah, like I said, how many tutorials there are for a particular assignment. So
Mm.
like this particular one, it was worth 60 points because there's 8 tutorials.
Mm.
Um, yeah. Whereas one that only has like 3 or 4 is worth, let's see,
Sorry.
uh, less points. Like I have I have one that has it's worth there's 4 tutorials and it's worth 20 points. So I think maybe I was doing so many points per tutorial, but also if the tutorial was really long, um, that got weighted a little bit or got more points,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah.
And then how did you like specific? I get that you have less for less and more for more, but where did you get 60 from? What's the difference between having it be 60 or having it be 50?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was just based on the weighting that I wanted. So I had a certain percentage of the final grade that I wanted the tutorials to be worth. So then it was just splitting that up appropriately for
Mm.
all the tutorial assignments.
Got it. Do you have
Yeah,
like an overall point value for the entire course?
right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this
So
would just
like,
be kind of fitting it into that.
right, exactly. So I'm pulling up my simple syllabus now. Grading. Boop. No, no, there we go. So yeah, so the tutorials overall looks like the way I have it set up was I was a ding dong and didn't set it up in a good way. So now I have to do math. 20, 30.
But
Um,
I always try to do the point value with however many points it is in the course. So it's like if you do this and it's 20 points, then that's like 20% of your grade or something.
yeah, I have some of my courses set up like that, but like, and with this one, it would have been difficult to do. So I actually have the whole course is worth 400 points.
Okay.
Um, so, the tutorials end up being of the total grade, 20, 30, uh, 40, 45, 50, like almost 54% of the grade
Okay.
because it's the brunt of the class. Like they are spending uh 8 weeks working on these tutorials.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for the rest of the course, they are using the skills that they learned in the tutorials to create their own GIS project.
Mm,
So they
yeah.
spend the last 2 to 3 weeks working on that.
Oh, it's kind of like a capstone.
Yep.
Great. Looks like it's rife for CWLO implementation as well, if I'm looking over here. Critical thinking, that's one of our
Yeah, I definitely think that it'll be one that can fit in with the CWLOs for sure.
like it looks like you can probably hit multiple ones. Like
I I
learning
agree.
how to use this app seems like tech literacy, the critical thinking aspect of it. I don't know how much communication they're going to be doing, but
They
uh,
do have to present their project. So,
nice.
yep.
Sounds like you could knock off a bunch of those if we're looking for assignments. And actually, we'll talk about that later. I know we're on the same work group, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's great, Derek. Thank you for taking the time to go over that with us. Um, this would be a good time for the thing that we were talking about earlier. So I'm just gonna do it right here. And actually, I don't know what it is. So let me get this up. Um, and then we are going to be going into the next one here in a second. Um, oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Nope. Let me get it so y'all can see it. I'm not trying to make it so that it's unseeable. Okay. This is because we're at the end. I'll try to see if I can make this bigger. Why change the size? It was so easy to change the size before in Zoom, but then they changed the annotations. Can y'all see that? It's
Yep.
Yeah, I can. And it's all lowercase.
all lowercase with an exclamation point.
Got it.
Don't forget the X one. And there's spaces in there. It's the hardest one yet. I don't know how to make it bigger though. Wait a minute, I got an idea. What about this? Nope.
I can see it. It's
Okay.
clear.
Okay, good. As long as you can see it and it's clear.
When I think in Zoom, um, isn't there a way you can zoom in when someone's sharing? Like maybe,
Oh, okay. Oh, never mind. I fixed it. It's in the
You'd
yeah,
think since it's called Zoom, huh?
yeah, right. Funny. Okay, here we go. Bonk. Can y'all see that now? For future reference, if anybody ever is writing text on the screen, the thing you want to do with the annotate, you have to click on the color. And when you click on the color options, for some reason the font options are also there. Match the purple. There we go. Okay. I'll leave that up there for a second and go over the assignment for this one. Include a detailed section in your syllabus that outlines the grading structure for the course, explaining the weight of each assignment, quiz, and exam. That's what Derek was just talking about. He has it in his simple syllabus. Use clear and specific language in your rubrics that define each performance level, what each performance level means for an assignment or a test. Provide annotated examples of past students' works with permission that demonstrate what constitutes different grading levels. This is interesting. I'm curious if anybody in here does this, but the idea for this one is you would provide an example of an exemplary work, and then you would provide one that is maybe not as good so that students can see what the difference is between we'll call it like a bare bones, a minimum, bare minimum versus one that's exceptional. Does anybody do anything like that?
I give them examples of work that I did.
Oh,
So, like, they have to draw out a network. I give that to them, but I tell them don't copy, cannot copy.
sure.
Everything stated in it is going to be different. Their IP addressing, their naming scheme, that kind of stuff. Anything that isn't, I leave off, and then we add as we build the project.
That's good. Yeah, that's great. And I teach a presentations class at a university in Korea, and I give them my presentation. So I'll do like a presentation on my favorite place, or I'll give a demonstration, movie review. But then obviously, this is how I'm doing it, and this is my structure that I'm following. And I would like for you to follow the same structure, but your favorite place is probably not the same as my favorite place or my movie review. You should probably pick a different movie. A beginning of the term webinar or live session, this just like I guess, this was made for online, but most of you all go over your syllabus in the first day of class. Just make sure you talk about the grading structure, which I think all of us do. An FAQ section on your course site that addresses common questions about grading. I mean, unless the grading structure is like really bizarre, then I don't know if you'd really need an FAQ. But if students are asking a bunch of questions, maybe jot those down and either make the necessary changes to your syllabus or your Canvas, or maybe just mention that whenever you're giving your spiel at the beginning. I think that's long enough. Okay, and then regularly review and update grading criteria and rubrics to ensure they remain relevant and clear, reflecting changes in course content. Yet sometimes you go in there and you want to change an assignment around. Just make sure you make any necessary changes to the rubric.
with that last one, just, I mean, I know that I think most of us updating grading criteria and rubrics, that makes sense. Like if you change the assignment, like as long as it's not been completed, right? In that, but like one thing that I don't do is change like in the grading structure for the course, I don't change point values for assignments like midstream, mid quarter. I'll do that between quarters, right? But not like I'm not gonna be like, oh, this exam, I said it was gonna be worth 100 points.
No, I don't think that's what this is saying.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like
When I
changing
read
the
it again, I
rules
was
of the
like,
game in the middle of the game. Like nobody likes
yeah,
that.
that's not good practice.
Thank you for bringing that up, though. So for anybody who is doing that out there, uh, maybe wait until the course, like set your course, run it away, take notes, if something is weird, and then address it afterwards, after the quarter is done. Kelly?
Yeah, it was something that kind of woke me up a little bit, like got my attention was I used to have the students use a specific tool that was not necessarily available to everybody, but I didn't know that. And it was part of the grading of that assignment. And then when student, I had a couple students come to me and say, well, I don't have access to this, but I can get this other open source tool or whatever. Um, I absolutely changed it where they could use whatever tools available to them, but we also got it for them so they can get it as part of the Microsoft. It's called Microsoft Visio.
Mm,
But you know, even if a student, let's say they don't have a computer that runs it well, they can use other tools. They can hand draw it. I've taken those too, where they've drawn it out on paper and took a picture of it. It's
mm.
more of the content and from my visual learners, getting them to see what the network looks like to help them understand what we're doing as far as the assignments go, how it's affecting everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And I mean, that would be like a special case where it's like if you're in the middle of a quarter and you're didn't realize it, because sometimes we get in there and we're like, oh, I've got all this stuff, just like I teach uh tech literacy class. And so I always have to be cognizant of when I'm logging into a computer, I've already like everything's already set up for me the way that I want it to be,
Right.
moving computer to computer. So it's like my Edge has got all my bookmarks in there. My OneDrive's already configured, so when I open up PowerPoint, like I can just see my name there in the PowerPoint. But for the students who are coming in, this is a lab. They're like logging into the computer for the first time. Like you got to go in and you got to set up the OneDrive. And
Yep. I just had to walk students through accessing Visio through their student email account.
mm,
So through the web browser, and then they all had access to it and then gave them alternatives.
mhm,
The other thing too was I tell my students if I could just pass or give you a pass or fail, I do it because of what we teach. It's either like I've said before, you can do it or you can't do it. You can succeed in it or you're not going to succeed in it, right? It's hard to have a middle ground, is what I'm saying. Towards the end, but giving them multiple attempts at something without heavily penalizing them is something that I changed to because it's more about the learning. And they may not have gotten it on the first try, but now they know where they messed up. They can go back and redo it, and maybe you take a couple points away.
mhm.
But they learned. But I honestly give them more than one attempt
Yeah,
to get it right, and that was something I didn't do before. And I'm saying before COVID and stuff. That
yeah.
kind of all changed when COVID hit.
Well, I think, and I see Tracy's hand, and maybe she's going to talk about what we talked about last time. So I'll let you go, and then I'll follow up.
I saw your face, Ronald, and I'm like, he knows exactly what I'm gonna say. Because Kelly, I'm just so I want to do that so badly, especially for concepts that are I would say commonly challenging for students. And so let's see, I guess it was it was last quarter. I went to curriculum committee and I proposed a new course. And so I'm getting ready for teaching it for the first time in summer quarter. And part of it is I wanted to pull out that kind of information because it was kind of dispersed throughout a lot of different courses, and I wanted to hit it really hard in the very first course in my program. And part of that was lab math and its dilutions, its concentrations, and traditionally students have struggled with it. And so that's what I've been working on mostly this week, is just creating a tilted assignment where there's actually going to be 2 submissions, and it's like an optional for feedback first submission before it's graded at all. So that's something that I want to go
That's
to that.
cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to do I would like to go to some non-traditional grading and in a lot of different things, but I'm going to start with this at least. And I'm splitting up the assignment. So there's some, I think, like easier to comprehend to kind of build their confidence. That I'm going to do that first. And
Yeah.
then the second one, I just decided today it was getting too long. So I'm going to split that up into 2 just so that they feel, they can get some validation that they are on the right track with at least some of it, and then
Give
get
them some
feedback before.
successes. Give them
Yeah.
some successes and break it into smaller chunks.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand. And with what you teach, I could definitely see where that would be, you know, tough. Um, ours is data disappears. Yours is a little bit more serious, So yeah.
Well, data disappearing, that's serious too. It's just
Yeah.
different.
We just get it from a backup or pay the ransom.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Gotta deposit it into this Bitcoin account, Bitcoin wallet.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, let's move on to the next thing now. So we're talking about timely grades and feedback. I think this is something that is very difficult. It's not difficult, it's just time consuming. And there is a difference there. Giving students, what's it say here? Course includes clear explanation describing instructor's plan for timely and personalized. So timely, getting it done and back to the students as quickly as possible. And then adding in an element of personalization depending on what the student is either lacking, or conversely, if they're doing great, giving them some kudos for the good work that they're doing. Just something that we talked about last week as well. So in order to improve their work, students need to receive your feedback in a timely manner, right? Especially if you have an assignment and then the next assignment builds on that assignment, it'd be good to give them the feedback, and then if they have a chance to resubmit, then they can resubmit and then have it all ready by the time the next assignment rolls around. That also works, and it's the same thing for assignments that are like very similar. I was taking a class where it was writing like movie reviews, and so it's important, if you're going to write a movie review, you want to fill it out the way that you think it should be, and then if there's anything that you're lacking or missing, by the time next week rolls around and you have another movie review to write, then it'd be good to know what worked and what didn't work, so that you can kind of follow that similar style if you did it well the first time, or if you need to make adjustments, now you know which adjustments you need to make to have a more successful assignment. Grade and provide feedback daily. Don Souza, nice work. Grading twice a week, still great. I like as long as it's, within I would say within a couple weeks. I think if you go past a week,
Oh no, I don't go past. It's that week's work.
oh no, not I'm not talking about you, but I'm just saying like in general,
Yeah.
everyone could use that as kind of a, like if you're providing feedback that's more than a week later, then it really doesn't tell the students where they are and how to survive. So, let's see, there are some questions here to consider as you decide what feedback plan that you are going to have. Will you return graded work within a few days, within a week, or longer? Like I said, longer than a week is a little long. Yes, Derek?
I'll let you finish and then I can chime in.
I was just going to read down this list, so I'll
Oh,
just leave it
okay.
here on the screen for anybody who wants to go through. But go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, this is really important, I think, because I have to say, um, I've not about my grading because I um tend to like after an assignment is due, that assignment is typically graded within 24 hours.
Nice.
Unless it's a bigger assignment like a paper, then, obviously it takes longer to slog through, 10 to 15 to 20 papers. But I do let students know like, oh, hey, you all submitted it. Great job. I'm going to be grading these this weekend. It's going to take me some time. But I will say that this is something that I've heard from students in terms of not receiving timely feedback and or the feed like they're just getting a grade and there's no like written feedback when they feel that they should get like you said with the movie review thing. If you're not giving students written feedback, then how do they know how to improve, right?
Exactly.
So this is something that I have heard regarding other courses and that students sort of complain a little bit about. And of course, we know that students can exaggerate, but the consistency with which I've heard it indicates that it can be an issue for some courses and faculty at getting this done, but it is super important for the students. So
Right. Yeah,
and
and I guess it depends on the size of the class too as well, because if you have a class with, like a
yeah,
smaller class of 5 or, even up to 10, it's more manageable and, maybe a 24 hours or 72 hours. Trying to stick within that is more conceivable. I'm notoriously bad at giving timely feedback and personalized feedback, so I see y'all, see what y'all are doing. But then I've also this class is all the students or is all the faculty at Clover Park. So if I don't say anything, it means y'all are doing great. Okay, just
well, I mean, that I also use that strategy. Like if they had to watch a video and answer some questions and they get full points, like there's no other feedback that I can give, right? Like,
exactly. Like,
but
yeah, you got it, good job, like all that kind of stuff, which just
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you can give them a
unnecessary.
smiley face emoji if you want to, I guess,
Yeah, we said that last time. The emojis are on, and if that's the way you want to do it, that yeah, everybody loves a little smiley face emoji every once in a while. Kelly, go ahead.
I find that there's the students that do very well. And when I'm grading, I always try to throw in good job or keep up the good work or, you know, that's awesome or whatever.
Mhm.
It's the students who are struggling that I like to meet with. I'll hold them back like we'll have class and then I'll say, hey, can you stick around? Or I meet with them during lab days and go over it with them because I find that writing it they don't always receive what I'm trying to convey in my message.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
So,
hard to convey tone without
right.
like
And I've had
exclamation points
issues.
and
I've had issues in the past where students like, well, you don't like me. No, I like you. I really do. Well, you
Mhm.
said this. Well, that's because you missed this step or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll have them come in like on Wednesdays or Fridays, like today, and go over it with them.
Mhm.
So I know that they understood it, they saw it, they get it, and then we can move forward. That's not always easy to do, in larger classes, but I think we all in the NOS program, we all do that. Like we all pretty much teach the same. Um, the grading, like I tell they know it's like a 72-hour thing, but it's only on things like turn in your weekly report because they know it's gonna take time to read it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and give feedback as opposed to what was the score on the quiz, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's another thing. If they're struggling with the quiz, then I would rather meet with them and go over it.
Kelly, I was gonna, before I saw that your hand was up, so I didn't put mine up, but that's exactly what I was gonna say is that, if someone I've been doing a lot more recorded feedback so that they can hear tone of voice and that kind of thing. But
Mhm.
if it is something where someone is struggling, I do prefer to do it. I mean, that, and then also meet with them because I can't believe how many of my students just look at their grade book and then don't even go in to look at the feedback. So if it's something, and then also because, and this happened last quarter, when I did that, I found out that there was some life stuff going on that it was impacting the student's ability to focus.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, so now I have the context. It's not that you're necessarily struggling with the material because the student isn't struggling with the material. The student has life stuff that is impacting the quality of the work that they can turn in right now. And so then I just felt like, okay, well now, I mean, so now if I can grade accordingly because the person does understand the content, and then just have some understanding. And then I just think like you personalize it, and people like getting verbal um kudos kind of thing. And so um better, I mean, they've said they really like hearing me say good job versus me writing good job.
Mm.
um so that's been I mean, kind of fun actually. And then it's something, I mean, I'm an early bird, so I can record my feedback at 5 in the morning when I'm up, and it doesn't impact uh I that it doesn't take time when others are, I guess, less convenient. It's more convenient for everybody. They can consume it when they want. I can do it when I want, and everybody's happy.
Have y'all tried inside of Canvas? They have this little thing down here where you can record videos with captions. So like I could say, let's see here. Something went wrong. Classic. Trying to go do a demo. Oh, I think because I already have. Hold on. Let me try something real quick. So just bear with me.
Is it because you're already recording? Like, oh no, there you go. We couldn't hear you, but we could see you pointing at us.
So I turned off my mic and video in Zoom so that I could use it for this. And
Yeah.
then let's see if
I couldn't hear the audio, but boy, do I feel like I failed.
you maybe work on does this look angry? Do I look angry at Derek?
Derek, you did a great job on your rubric.
It looks angry. You're right.
That was great. I'm glad you threw Derek's name in there. I feel better.
Yeah, I'm on Derek's thing, right? Okay, yeah, there you go. Derek, you can have your custom feedback there. Live from our class. Okay, so let me see here. A little bit lost here. All right, so these are the questions. Like I said, y'all can no, thanks for the emojis. Y'all can go through these. These are like if we were to look back at that the FAQ, you are gonna make an FAQ. Maybe just have this list and then answer the questions after each of them. Like, I don't know, that seems like the assignment to me, is it not? Let's say here. Add an explanation how, when you plan, ask students to contribute or co-create the grading and feedback plan. That's
Yeah, you almost gave me a heart attack.
yeah, you're gonna have to have a lot of finesse with that. Exchange feedback plans with one or more colleagues. Well, that's good. We should have something like that in this where we switch them with each other.
Well,
Select
that's why I said NOS. The NOS faculty, we're all pretty much the same in the way we teach. So
that's great. Select an assessment from the previous term. Review the feedback that you gave the student. Did you use their name? Was the feedback personalized? Did it include specific information? Review the student feedback from a previous term. Identify any areas where you might be able to improve or make adjustments. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if y'all just do this could also be one that wasn't listed there, but maybe putting together. When will you return graded? Do you say, I will try to return, or I will try to give assignment feedback within 24 hours. Bold the try. Will you grade items as they are submitted? You know, either take it out or see the previous one.
I've had students in the past, past quarters say, why are we being graded on this when 2 assignments back it covered this? Why is this part of the score?
Mm.
And they were right. They were, you know what I mean? And on one hand, if it happens a couple times, you're introducing it, reinforcing it, mastering it. But if it's happening in every assignment, I could see their concern.
Yeah.
So I've made adjustments from previous, quarters just based off of their feedback. And I've been lucky to have the students say, tell me what they really think without being, afraid to be honest with me. So.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And that actually, I'm gonna lead that off into our final little message here, which is kind of the message for this whole course in general, the framework for faculty and student success. Open communication with your students, making sure your students have a sense of belonging in your classroom is important. And if you can do it, then I promise. I mean, like, it might take a little bit of extra work. It might require you to really, establish these relationships with these students, which takes time, but it is enjoyable. Your classes are going to be more enjoyable. I'm sure you all have stories where you're like, I put extra effort in and all my students either love the class or were super successful. Those types of things stick with the students if you're doing it right. And so I hope in the first section of this course, we talked about sense of belonging. So I hope you all got some good stuff out of there. Outcomes, we all know outcomes are important to have, and just communicating those with your students is important. The more transparent you are with your course, then the easier it will be for them to understand how things are working and why they're doing the things that they're doing in your course. Assessments are the best way to do that, like designing assessments that are authentic to the job. Kelly's talking about people setting up servers. If they're going to be doing that same thing on the job, then it's golden, because that's our job, is to prepare them for the workforce. And so feedback and rubrics, all of those things tie into that idea of transparency. And I hope that in this course, you all, maybe either realize that you're doing a great job and you've provided examples of like, okay, this is what it says to do. I'm doing this. And so that's a reinforcement to you that you're doing great. And hopefully you all learned a little bit and maybe made some of those adjustments, whether big or small, to make your courses better. So thank you, especially thank you. I want to give a shout out to y'all for being in here. I know there's a lot of people that aren't able to make these meetings, so I love y'all who are watching it later. But for the people that are in here talking about emojis, thank you. Thank you for coming. And I hope to see you all again. So that's my spiel for the end of this course. Once again, we got one more next week on the 23rd. No, not the 23rd. It's on the 25th, but it'll be week 23. So we have one more meeting so that we can put a finish on this course and wrap it up into a bow and give it out to the world. But thank you.
Are you
Thank you
going to
for
do
coming.
something else like this in the future? Another course?
Do you think we should?
I would love to continue on. And the day and time works really well for me. The AI thing you guys are doing is right during a class, so I can't attend it,
Okay. I hope so. I hope we can we got another track that we're working on. We're thinking about focusing on accessibility
Cool.
and universal design for learning
Right on.
starting in the summer of 2025. But yeah, I like this thing where we can all come together and work together. So we'll either have a similar time or we might be able to make it so we can run two so that we can catch everybody. So more to come on that. Stay tuned. But for now, I gotta go. Thank you all for
Right
coming.
on. Thank you.
Thanks,
See ya.
everybody.
See ya.